Envision a state in which the mind is like a serene lake, accurately and distortion-free, reflecting the cosmos. It is a place where the pursuit of truth arises directly from the sense of being rather than from literature or myth. Greetings from the world of Zen Buddhism, a way of life that cannot be explained. Zen encourages us to investigate its deep philosophical underpinnings, illuminating practices, and rich history. It is a tradition that offers a straightforward yet nuanced route for people pursuing enlightenment, bringing together the profound and the simple, discipline and spontaneity. The history of Zen Buddhism begins in India with the awakening of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. His teachings spread across Asia, emphasizing the path to liberation through mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. It was in China during the 6th century that Zen as we know it today began to take shape, influenced by the intersection of Buddhism and Taoism. As Buddhism traveled along the Silk Road, it absorbed elements of Chinese thought, leading to the emergence of Chan Buddhism, which later became known as Zen in Japan. At the heart of this transformation stands Bodhidharma, the Indian monk who introduced a radical approach, silent meditation as the essence of spiritual practice. Though details about his life remain elusive, Bodhidharma is revered as the 28th patriarch of Indian Buddhism and the founder of Chan in China. Legend tells of his journey from India, crossing the Himalayas into China with more than teachings. He carried a revolutionary message. Awakening is achieved not through scriptures or rituals but through direct experience and deep meditation. Bodhidharma's arrival in China marked a turning point. He sought refuge at the Shaolin Monastery, where he found monks who were disheartened and physically frail. To revitalize them, he introduced seated meditation, dhyana, and a series of physical exercises that would later influence traditional martial arts. His legendary 9-year meditation facing a wall has become an enduring symbol of Zen's essence: total focus on introspection and inner silence. Bodhidharma's teachings emphasized that truth could not be taught, only experienced, and this core belief shaped the development of Zen's emphasis on direct insight. While Bodhidharma planted the seeds of Zen in China, it was Dogen Zenji who firmly established Zen Buddhism in Japan. Born in 1200 into an aristocratic family, Dogen encountered life's impermanence at a young age, losing both parents early. This loss ignited deep questions about existence and suffering. At 13 he entered monastic life, but the question that haunted him, if all beings possess Buddha nature, why practice, remained unanswered. Dissatisfied with the explanations he found in Japan, Dogen traveled to China, seeking clarity. In China, under the guidance of Master Rujing of the Chan tradition, Dogen experienced a profound awakening. Rujing taught him that practice and enlightenment were not separate. Zazen, or seated meditation, was itself the expression of awakening. This realization transformed Dogen's understanding of Buddhism, and he carried this insight back to Japan. Upon his return, Dogen founded the Eiheiji Monastery, which became a major Zen center. His teachings, preserved in his seminal text Shobogenzo, Treasury of the True Dharma I, explored profound topics such as the nature of reality, time, and practice. Dogen emphasized that every act, no matter how mundane, was an expression of the path. Washing a bowl, sweeping the floor, or arranging flowers, each was an opportunity for mindfulness and realization. His famous words, "To study the way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self," capture the essence of Zen's transformative journey. Thanks to Dogen Zenji's efforts, Zen Buddhism flourished in Japan, remaining faithful to the simplicity and depth that Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, had originally inspired. Zen temples became places not just of worship but of practice, offering a disciplined yet serene environment for seekers to immerse themselves in meditation and self-discovery. As centuries passed, Zen's teachings continued to evolve and spread, influencing art, poetry, and daily life. Practices like the tea ceremony, calligraphy, and gardening became intertwined with Zen philosophy, each embodying mindfulness, simplicity, and an appreciation for the present moment. Even in modern times, Zen's essence, its focus on direct experience and living fully in the moment, continues to resonate with seekers around the world, transcending cultural and temporal boundaries. The great way of the Buddha is vast and boundless. To practice it is to dive into the infinite, where there is no beginning or end. Abandoning discriminations and divisions reveals things as they truly are. Dogen Zenji writes about the transcendence of dualities and the union with the true nature of reality. For Dogen, Zen is not something to be grasped by the logical mind but lived in every moment. He states, "Sitting in Zazen is the complete manifestation of awakening. In this simple act, the entire universe is revealed. Zazen, seated meditation, is not an isolated practice but the very expression of the way, where mind and body harmonize with the cosmos. In another of his writings, Dogen says, "Time does not pass, we pass through time." When this is understood, the present ceases to be fleeting and becomes eternity. This teaching reflects the essence of Zen, to fully live the now as a portal to the eternal. Zen Buddhism is an experience that challenges linear thought and rejects the idea that truth can be captured in words or concepts. As D.T. Suzuki stated, Zen is not an explanation but an experience. This focus on direct experience sets Zen apart from other traditions. At its heart is the idea that spiritual awakening cannot be taught through words or rituals. Pointing directly to the human mind is a key phrase of Zen, emphasizing that truth must be discovered individually, without intermediaries or dogmas. Zen philosophy is deeply rooted in the here and now. There is no concern for the past or the future, as only the present moment is real. This principle echoes the words of Master Thich Nhat Hanh: "Walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet." Every act, no matter how simple, becomes an expression of awakening when performed with full awareness. This teaching reminds us that profound spiritual truths are not confined to meditation cushions or temple halls. They are present in the rhythm of daily life. Another fundamental aspect of Zen is the use of koans, enigmatic questions or paradoxes that challenge rational thought. One intriguing koan asks, "Without moving your lips or tongue, say something about Zen." This riddle urges practitioners to abandon dependence on words and seek direct understanding beyond conventional reasoning. Koans are not puzzles to solve with intellect. They are gateways to deeper insights, forcing the practitioner to confront the limitations of logical thought and awaken to a more intuitive understanding of reality. Simplicity is a cornerstone of Zen. As Shunryu Suzuki teaches, the posture is the awakening. There is no need to complicate the spiritual path. Sitting in silence, breathing, and being present are enough. Zen sees the extraordinary in the ordinary and celebrates the beauty of daily life. Through this lens, even the most mundane tasks become opportunities for mindfulness and self-realization. The art of simply being becomes a profound spiritual practice. Zen also challenges the idea of a fixed or separate self. In Dogen's words, to study the way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. This reflection points to the dissolution of the ego as the path to unity with the whole. Forgetting the self is not a loss but a liberation, a way of opening to the interconnectedness of all existence. In this state, life flows without resistance, and each moment becomes a harmonious expression of the universal rhythm. Ultimately, Zen is an experience of freedom, not something to be understood with the mind but to be lived. An old Zen proverb states, "Before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water." Life does not change, but our perception of it is radically transformed. The ordinary becomes extraordinary, and every moment is imbued with profound meaning. In Japan, Zen profoundly influenced daily life, transforming common activities into spiritual practices. The tea ceremony, or shinoyu, is a classic example. Each step, from preparation to consuming tea, is performed with mindfulness and respect, reflecting Zen's emphasis on simplicity and harmony. The ritual becomes a meditation in motion, where every gesture expresses the essence of Zen. The clinking of utensils, the sound of water boiling, and the act of drinking tea all come alive as manifestations of the present moment. Similarly, Zen has influenced arts such as calligraphy and gardening. In calligraphy, each stroke is executed with full awareness and spontaneity, reflecting the artist's inner state. The brush becomes an extension of the practitioner's mind, and the resulting characters are not just symbols but living expressions of being. In Zen gardens, stones, sand, and plants are arranged to evoke tranquility and introspection, inviting silent contemplation. The carefully placed elements guide the viewer to experience the unspoken truths of the universe. These practices show how Zen permeates daily life, transforming ordinary tasks into opportunities for profound connection. This transformation extends to every corner of existence. Whether cooking a meal, sweeping the floor, or tending to a garden, each action becomes a doorway to awakening when approached with mindfulness and presence. This is the difference between an ordinary person and a Buddha, serving tea. It is not the act itself that changes but the awareness brought to it. The Buddha sees the infinite in the finite and the eternal in the fleeting, turning every moment into an expression of enlightenment. Time is a continuum without beginning or end. Practicing the way means being completely present in the moment we are in. This very instant is eternity itself, and when we fully surrender to it, there is no separation between time and ourselves. Everything that exists is here now. These are the words of Dogen Zenji in his teachings. Dogen emphasized that the here and now is not something that comes or goes. The present is the full manifestation of the way. By living this moment, we are realizing the entirety of time. True practice does not happen elsewhere but exactly where we are now. These words highlight that the present is not merely a fleeting point between past and future but the very essence of reality. The river of time does not flow past us. We are part of its current, inseparable from its endless depth. In Zen, the concept of here and now goes beyond philosophical musings. It is a living practice. Zazen, or seated meditation, is one of the most direct ways to experience this full presence. During Zazen, the practitioner does not get lost in thoughts about what has passed or what is yet to come but remains aware of the breath, the body, and existence itself in the present moment. As a Zen proverb states, the moment you sit, the whole world sits with you. In that stillness, the boundaries between the self and the universe dissolve, and the practitioner becomes one with the timeless rhythm of life. Mindfulness of the present extends to everyday activities. In Zen, simple tasks such as washing a bowl or sweeping the floor become opportunities to live in the here and now. This reflects the teaching that there is no separation between spiritual practice and ordinary life. As Master Tizhan said, when washing the dishes, just wash the dishes. The act itself is not as important as the quality of presence brought to it. A single breath taken with full awareness holds more truth than 1,000 actions performed mindlessly. Each moment of practice becomes a microcosm of the whole, a reflection of life's infinite interconnectedness. This focus on the present also frees the practitioner from the suffering caused by fixation on the past or anxiety about the future. Zen invites us to let go of these attachments and experience the freedom that comes from being fully immersed in the reality of now. Regrets and worries lose their grip when we understand that they exist only in the mind, not in the moment. By surrendering to the present, we open ourselves to the beauty and completeness of what is as it is. The here and now is therefore the gateway to enlightenment. There is no need to seek something far away or wait for the ideal moment. As an ancient koan teaches, when you walk, just walk. When you eat, just eat. This simplicity encapsulates the depth of Zen. Living each moment fully is the realization of the way itself. In this practice, the mundane becomes sacred, and the ordinary reveals the extraordinary. Imagine, then, that every step you take is a step into eternity. Every sound you hear, every breeze that brushes your skin, and every fleeting thought is part of this infinite moment. It is not about escaping the world but embracing it completely. To practice Zen is not to abandon life but to meet it fully, with all its joys and sorrows, as an ever-unfolding dance of presence. In this dance, the lines between time and being blur, and the profound truth of just this emerges. Zazen is the central practice of Zen Buddhism, a deep meditation aiming to guide the practitioner to a direct experience of reality beyond discursive thought and distractions. The term Zazen comes from Japanese, where Zien means sitting and Zen means meditation. Thus, Zazen is simply seated meditation. However, its meaning goes far beyond the physical action. It is a state of full mindfulness, absolute presence in the moment, where the practitioner lets go of the constant flow of thoughts and opens to an experience of simplicity and depth. Zazen is not just a meditation technique but a true philosophy of life. It teaches us to transcend the duality between subject and object, dissolving the boundaries between the meditator and the world. The practice of Zazen is a path to liberation and spiritual awakening, aiming to achieve Satori, the direct insight into the nature of the mind and reality. As Zen Master Dogen explained, sitting in Zazen is the practice of Buddhism, and the practice of Buddhism is the practice of our life. For Dogen, the simple act of sitting correctly can bring awakening because true practice is not merely a technique but a deep dive into the present. While Zazen is simple in form, it is profound and challenging. Beginners may find it difficult to keep their minds calm and focused, but it's important to understand that the practice is not about suppressing thoughts or controlling the mind. Instead, it is about observing those thoughts without clinging to them. If you feel anxious, simply observe the anxiety and invite it to meditate with you. Let it be, without trying to change it or push it away. This is where true freedom lies, in the acceptance and non-attachment to whatever arises. Choose a quiet place, a peaceful environment free from distractions. Many practitioners use a small altar with incense and a Buddha image, but this is not essential. Silence and calm are the key elements. Sit in a comfortable yet alert position. Traditionally, a round cushion called a zafu is used, but you can also use any firm cushion or a meditation bench. The posture should be stable and upright, with the spine straight, head and neck aligned as if a string were pulling the crown of your head upward. The main sitting positions are full lotus, both feet rest on the opposite thighs. This advanced posture requires flexibility. Half lotus, one foot rests on the opposite thigh and the other stays on the floor. Burmese position, legs are crossed with both feet resting on the floor without overlapping. This is more accessible for beginners. The hands rest in the lap, palms up, forming a circle with the thumb tips touching, creating the cosmic mudra. This position helps center attention. The gaze is gently focused on a point in front, with eyes slightly closed to avoid visual distractions. Breathing is a fundamental aspect of Zazen. It should be slow and deep, helping the mind to calm and anchor itself in the present. Observe the sensation of air entering and leaving the body. The core of Zazen practice is shikantaza, which translates to just sitting. During Zazen, there is no striving for a specific state or effort to control the mind. The goal is simply to be present, free from expectations or judgments. Contrary to the misconception that meditation requires a mental guard to control thoughts, Zazen teaches that there is no guard. The practitioner observes thoughts without clinging to them. Thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky, while the meditator observes them with full awareness and without identification. As Zen Master Hakuin said, when you feel yourself heading toward a goal, stop and let it go. There is no goal, only the here and now. Zazen can last from 20 minutes to an hour or more. Beginners are advised to start with shorter sessions and gradually increase, adding 1 minute per day. Daily practice is essential. Meditation should not be seen as an isolated event but as a way of life. The goal is not to accumulate meditation hours but to cultivate a constant state of presence and awareness in daily life. The Zen philosopher Shunryu Suzuki wrote in his famous book Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, "In Zazen you should just be, without clinging to the idea of achieving something." This beginner's mind, free from preconceived notions, is the ideal state for Zazen, where the practitioner finds freedom in the simple act of sitting. Zen teaches that enlightenment is not something to be sought externally but something already present, waiting to be recognized through consistent practice and full presence. As you settle into the simplicity of Zazen, each breath becomes a moment of awakening. The practice does not end when the session concludes, it extends into every action, every word, every thought. When you rise from your cushion, you do not leave the practice behind. The same awareness and mindfulness that accompany you in sitting should follow you into the world. The world itself becomes your meditation, and every act, whether mundane or profound, becomes an expression of the practice of being present. Thus, we conclude this exploration into the heart of Zen Buddhism. The teaching of the here and now is not just a philosophy or spiritual practice but an invitation to live life with fullness, awareness, and simplicity. In the instant we realize that everything is contained in the present moment, we discover true freedom. If the words of Dogen Zenji and the Zen masters resonate with you, remember that the Zen journey begins exactly where you are. No need to go anywhere or achieve something distant. Enlightenment is in every step, every breath, and every act lived with mindfulness. May your practice in the here and now be a source of infinite peace and clarity.